During the event yesterday, there was the launch of the Africa Trade Reports by Afrexim Bank. Some interesting data came out of that. Well, top on the list was that Africa is trading more with itself than with outside, at least increasingly. That's what the group chief economist of Afrexim Bank, Dr. Yemi, Kale.
Well, it's not something that requires convincing. The data is there. If you look at all the trade statistics, is one of the easiest data that we have because if you are trading in one country or the other, the information is there. So when we say they are trading more with themselves, we're not saying that they are trading more with themselves than other countries. We're saying it's improving. So if you look at African trade 10 years ago, it was maybe 3-4% within the continent. Now it's 15%. So what we are saying they're trading more means that it's gradually improving, and that's the way to go. But 85% is still traded with non-African countries. So what I'm trying to say is it's gradually getting better, and because of that, it's slowly reducing the vulnerability of African countries to global shocks.
And I mean, for me, when I hear about exporting raw materials, it's really heartbreaking, and we've been doing it for decades. Would you say there's an intentionality by governments of nations in Africa to add value, at least, before it is being exported? We're staying on it.
We're doing a lot in terms of value addition. That's what the Fund for Export Development, for example, does. The Fund for Export Development is investing in African businesses as a way to give them additional capital to do exactly that. We are lending money, billions of dollars to African businesses to do exactly that, to encourage them to build those production facilities so they can convert raw materials to value addition. So we have a whole strategy for value addition across different sectors, across different commodities in Africa. That's one of the major things that we do, and we have gotten some success in several countries, from textiles to the diamond value chains. We are hitting all those value chains. You will notice that one of the things we also spend a lot of money in is developing special economic zones. Again, the objective of those things is to actually do exactly what you are saying. So it's starting from a low base, but the idea is to gradually start to expand across Africa. Value addition is a core agenda as far as Africa Bank is concerned. So that is, if you check 10 years ago and now, you see significant progress in terms of doing that. It's just that we have a long way to go, but gradually you will get to the point that we need to.
And talking about value addition, well, we appreciate Afrexim Bank and all, but what areas would you say Nigeria is focusing on? So we're not just lost. What areas or what facilities is Nigeria using when it comes to value addition before exports?
I think if you look at the facilities that we provide for Nigeria, it's still lightly concentrated in the oil and gas space. But the truth is, the oil sector determines a lot of things in the Nigerian economy. It determines a lot. I've given several presentations where I've said that 65%, over 60% of Nigeria's economy is dependent on the oil sector. So even though the oil sector is just 5%, another 60% cannot function without the oil sector. So whether we like it or not, we need the oil sector to work for other sectors to work. So to be able to diversify away from oil, we actually need oil. That's what countries like the UAE did. It was their oil revenues that they used to develop everything else. So I'm not, as long as we use the development of the oil sector and we use the resources there to help develop other sectors so that we don't need oil again, that's the strategy. Whether or not that's what we are doing or we have plans to do, I can't really speak to that. But yes, a lot of the support is focused on the oil sector, but like I said, the strategy should be develop the oil sector, ensure it works very well, generate as much revenue from that sector, and use that revenue to make yourself less dependent on that same oil sector. But until you do that, you can't develop any other sector without the huge revenues that come from the way we are currently.
And I mean, we talked about China saying no more tariff for African countries, but even within Africa, it seems there are tariffs, even though officially there's none. There's not supposed to be anyone. You see that for a truck, for instance, to go from Nigeria to Ghana, there are certain tariffs and levies that are involved.
That is what we classify as non-tariff barriers. Most of the time we focus on the official ones, tariff barriers. We say we are taking tariffs up, but even officially, even if we are taking tariffs up, they can create non-tariff barriers. So it's not even about tariffs. We just keep your goods in the port for longer than necessary. There are many ways to we say the standards are not of high enough quality, so we reject them. So I think the conversation now, if you look at the EFCFTA, all the different agencies involved in trade, they are now focusing on non-tariff barriers, some of the things you are mentioning, how to streamline this thing. The problem is you have 54 African countries signed up to the EFCFTA. They all have their different rules. They all have to, some of those rules are legal, established by law. They have to go back, some of them have to go back to their parliaments to change the laws. If they don't do that, they can't actually do this. And some countries actually move slower than others. So some of these things are creating those challenges. So again, it's a slow process. And like I said earlier, when you have been used to a particular system for decades and you want to change it, sometimes it takes a gradual process. You start knocking it down over time till you get to where you want to get to. I think that's where we are. 5 years ago, we had only 2 or 3 countries signed to PAPS, for example. Now we have 16. It's a continuous process. Before you know it, will be all African countries. So I think what we should focus on is the process. As long as we are moving forward, as long as things are getting better, even though we have not gotten there, I always say that as long as things are moving in the right direction, that's what we should focus on. We should try and move it faster. But as long as we're not going backward or staying still, I think that's what gives me comfort. There's a lot of movement in the right direction. It's not moving as fast as we want to. I think that should be the focus. How do we African countries talk to themselves to move some of these rules a lot faster than it's currently moving? But yes, there's progress, definitely.